Ladies and gentlemen, here is the latest bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News.
Step into the sand.
This is Macabre Grimoire with Ari Show, Travis Nye, and Robert Melee.
Hey everybody, welcome to Macabre Grimoire, Chapter 14, the Kickstarter Submarine Murder. I'm your host, Ari Show, here with my co-host, Robert Mailing, and
Hello.
Travis Nye.
Hey.
Sorry, I kind of jumped on top of you.
You're okay.
Wow. That's invasive.
So, today's tale is a tale of murder most foul.
Dun dun dun.
On a
Funded
submarine.
by America.
What?
Well, Kickstarter.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Okay. So, yeah, probably a lot of... who else but Americans would say Swedish guy building a giant submarine from scratch?
Let's get on board with that.
How can I throw money at this?
Yeah.
So usually, I was just telling you before we started, usually I always do a bit of research before we do our topic. Like, you do the preliminary, kind of like historian, like, you put together this, basically our notes.
The super boring info dump.
Right.
about the topic.
Well, I wouldn't say super boring, but yes, the info dump. And then I like to just kind of go back and research it. Well, I don't know why, but I completely forgot what our topics were. But then you bring up that this is our topic tonight. I'm like, holy crap, I was just reading about this a couple days ago. So this is kind of a happy coincidence. So anyways,
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to jump in here and describe a little bit about what happened. So, the name of the guy here is Peter Madsen, and he was a Danish submarine inventor at the center of the mysterious death of a Swedish freelance journalist named Kim Wall. He was convicted and sentenced to life in prison for killing and dismembering Wall in a macabre case that has has drawn international attention. Getting into some gruesome details here, so a little trigger warning or whatever for you. Wall's dismembered body was found off the coast of Copenhagen in August. Prosecutors had said that during the trip in his private submarine, in this trip she was going to interview him about said submarine.
So, kind of backing up just a
Yeah.
bit. So, Madsen, he's kind of a hermit and kind of a quirky guy in town. Everybody kind of knows who he is and thinks he's kind of an interesting guy, but he's kind of keeps to himself. And so in this town, like, people are very intrigued by him, but they don't know a whole lot about him. They just know that he built the submarine. And so what this reporter, Kim Wall, did is that she decided that she was going to go and interview him to kind of like, kind of bring to light, everything that he's been kind of working on, because it's a very interesting story.
It's a massive submarine. You see the video clips that we'll include in here.
Yeah. So everybody knew where she was. She was going onto the submarine to basically get a tour, et cetera, et cetera. And then essentially he says, and I don't know, are we getting into like the story of what his alibi was?
Yeah, we can get into that a little bit.
But essentially, like, they go on an excursion out at sea. He claims that she had an injury out at sea. She hit her head, and she died as a result of those injuries. And so he didn't know what to do. So he wanted to dispose of her body. So if you kind of think about it, like, he's just kind of this quirky, weird guy. He has this incident, and so he tries to take care of it the best way that he knows how. Now, that's kind of a weird way to take care of it. I mean, why dismember her body? Like, that's where it gets, like, a little bit much. But he knew how to dispose of the body in the water.
Well, kind of, because, it all came back up, so that...
But I think there was, like, holes and stuff in her body to allow for, like, the gases to release so that she wouldn't,
and
like...
she was in bags that had weights in them. And,
yeah. So that's why it's kind of suspicious that he would do that.
The forensics makes it seem, like, super premeditated. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, seeing the children climb into his submarine here is, like...
no, don't go!
The context of this video now compared to... But Jesus Christ, can you imagine building something like that yourself? Just from scratch? He must really trust his welds.
Probably.
That was kind of my thought. Like, how do you even test something like that?
Without killing yourself.
Yeah, because if it goes wrong, like, you're not bringing it back up.
No. You think about... I think about the super early... What was it? The Huntsville or whatever? The Confederate submarine that was basically like a underwater bike.
Oh, yeah.
And before the like successful mission where it was lost forever, successful mission quotes in the air,
Yeah.
where they put that explosive charge on that Union ship in the blockade and blew it up. Before that, it had like flooded 2 other times, and then they'd recovered it and just removed the bodies. Do you imagine that? It's just like, okay, 3rd time's the charm.
Yeah. Who wants to go out this time?
Oh man.
Yeah, and if you look at it, oh man, the stuff. It's like everything is.
So it
like
couldn't have went
off-the-shelf
that
parts.
deep because I don't know how he would calculate like cabin pressure and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Like that's impressive in itself.
He must have done a lot of Googling. I'm kidding.
It's
It probably
possible.
wasn't
I
Google.
was gonna say he.
That's probably
2009.
Well,
yeah,
no, yeah.
he could have googled that.
Oh yeah, he could have Googled the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
There was Google when
I
I
would
was in high
say
school.
Yahoo that, but no, that's still Google.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
still totally Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you imagine having built something like that? I mean, if you built something like that, you're probably pretty confident in yourself. But I imagine building something like that, and the very first time you you start to submerge it,
Yeah.
just like every freaking little noise or anything like that, I'd just instantly be like, oh shit, oh shit, oh
So
shit.
the submarine itself is what was the Kickstarter, right?
Yeah,
So what was the rewards?
that is a great question. Oh, dismembered pieces of a reporter. Well, we solved that mystery. No, I am not sure. They don't really get into that.
That would be
I just-
great to find out because I want to know what people's motivation were to give that dude money.
Yeah, let's see if we can find that here.
The Kickstarter awards for the submarine.
Yeah, like, do you get it just like a free ride? Because, I mean, that'd almost be worth it, but dude better come pick me up because I'm not going all the way out there.
Yeah, it's going to be drowned out by...
Yeah.
The murder. Poo.
And then there's a whole bunch of, like,
I guess-
underwater drones and stuff like that that are on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I wonder because he has to provide updates to his, his funders or whatever.
I don't think you can do that from prison.
It's true.
Hey, guys, I'll get that to you in 25
Actually,
years.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it was probably pulled down when...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really don't want to be related to this.
Yep.
It's been 25 years. You said you're getting out. Where's my t-shirt?
Yeah. I wanted my signed piece.
This is crazy. Pretty cool.
Just a submarine in
Footage
itself
looks like
is
it's
cool.
being ran in reverse.
That's just how it comes up, man.
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna say
maybe
that-
it's not. No, that was definitely
was-
an ascend.
Yeah, that was...
Could use
That
the
was really
word.
cool because when it descended, it had like jets of air coming out. You could see them like bubble up, and it totally. Yeah, if it weren't for the fact that there's like a horrible like Hannibal Lecter-esque murder involved here, I'd be like, this submarine thing is pretty damn cool. I want to hang out with this guy.
What
So
a
is this-
weird thing. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, so is this thing actually just like on display for people to look at? Because that's what it appears to be in these videos.
Well, he parks it at that marina or whatever, and he basically takes people for rides on it. It looks like.
Well, yeah, we know that, and they don't come back. But
Yeah.
like, where is it now? Do we know?
I do not, or maybe my notes have got it here, but
Evidence lockup B.
did it say that somewhere?
No, I'm just
He's just making up shit.
I'm just
Okay.
making things up. That's all I'm good for.
You're fine. You're fine. So let's see. So Madsen is 47 years old. So they're saying from the forensics that he bound, sexually assaulted Wall, and then either strangled her or cut her throat, and then tossed her body up into pieces before tossing it into the sea.
Jesus.
He was charged with homicide, dismemberment, and the indecent handling of a corpse. Damn, that's quite... I feel like that's an Xbox achievement that you would, like, unlock that's just like, whoa!
Well, and the indecent handling of a corpse, I think that's an interesting charge. Not for, I mean, it's appropriate for him, but, like, I wonder when they started charging people with that indecent handling of a corpse, like,
Right.
like who determined, well, they really fucked this
You
person
should
up.
really cradle the neck when you pick them up.
Yeah, you need to be
That is
gentle.
indecent handling of a corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing at the point that you have, like, a severed limb and you're, like, throwing it off a boat, that it's kind of like that old Supreme Court quote about pornography. It's like, I know it when I see it. It's just like, I'm guessing it's kind of like that, where it's like you see it and you're like, yeah, that's the little, okay, yeah, definitely got to charge that guy with something. I don't
Right.
know what. Let's make up a law called indecent handling of a corpse
here's-
for what the hell he's doing to that body.
Here's the thing that gets me It's homicide. Okay, so you killed somebody. You're getting another charge for dismemberment, which I think would already quantify indecent handling of a corpse. You know what I mean? Like that tells me I can dismember someone but dispose of it properly. Like you know, like that's what I think is funny.
If you go to court for a speeding ticket, there's usually like 2 or 3 tickets on top of that, just so they can say like, well, we're gonna be nice and throw these away and just give you the speeding ticket.
Yeah, that's a very common prosecutor thing where they'll like stack up charges. Like the trailer for the new season of Serial came out this morning, and that was one of the. It's going to be a bunch of stories about courthouses in Ohio and just like regular people's court cases instead of like a big high profile.
Gotcha.
And she picked Ohio because they gave her permission to record like in judges' chambers.
Oh wow!
Like in the courtroom, like everywhere. So she's got like the whole process from beginning to end from all angles. It sounds really amazing, but in the case, and this is not abnormal at all. In the case that was the particular one going on in the trailer, the guy was getting charged with, in addition to, he was standing there with his friend when the friend killed a guy. He was also getting charged with, because they'd held the like other people there at gunpoint for a few minutes, they were getting kidnapping and a whole bunch of, basically they piled on kidnapping and different weapons charges and all sorts of stuff so that they
reckless
added
endangerment
up to like 70, 80 years because they wanted him to plead out, but he's like, no, I wasn't there. I am innocent. And then he was like, I'm going to represent myself because my lawyer is like, no, you've got to take a plea deal.
What?
Right. Yeah.
Did he get out of it? Like, what's the resolution?
Well, it's a trailer, so she didn't tell us if he got out of it.
Oh,
she just brought us up to
If I ever went to trial for anything, I would for sure represent myself. Like, I would do it.
I don't see that ending well for you in any kind of context.
Oh, I would do it.
I don't think you could do it.
I think an important thing for people to realize, though, is that your lawyer is also not on autopilot and does not always have your best interest at heart.
Right.
So you have to. That's one thing I've learned the hard way is that when you're dealing with legal stuff is that your lawyer is your employee and you have to direct them and be like, if they're like, oh, well, I recommend this, but you really don't want to do that, then you got to let them know and be like, no, these are my orders, carry them out. You know?
Yeah.
Do as I say.
Yes.
In a way they won't backlash on me.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now I kind of
I'm
want
not saying
to
be rude, but I'm just saying like, just be like, no, this is the decision.
Respect your lawyer, people. We're not saying, treat them like dirt.
Right.
They're expensive and I guess worth it.
They do a lot of work. I know quite a few lawyers.
So on top of what we were talking about, like just creating these, what circumstances? What was that called? Like mishandling of a corpse?
Just indecent handling of a corpse.
So I had allegedly stole a stop sign in my youth, and they had tried to charge me with attempted manslaughter.
Oh.
Yeah. But they never found...
That's a bit dramatic.
Yeah, and they never found said stop sign. So, that didn't stick.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But I'm guessing the idea was they were hoping you were just a dumb kid and they'd get you to plead out.
Well, kid like 19.
Right, still.
Oh my
Right,
God.
yeah.
In a courtroom, 19 is still young and dumb.
Right, yeah.
And old enough to know better.
Yeah, like they gave me
You
the
would
charges and they're like, if we find the weapon, which is the missing stop sign, which they never did, so they're like, don't do it again. And I'm like, don't do what?
Didn't do nothing.
Exactly.
Still haven't done anything.
Right, allegedly.
What's the statute of limitations on that?
Right, yeah, I can talk about it now because I never did it anyway.
Talk about the case in,
Right.
small details here and there.
Lee versus Nye.
Stop sign had it coming.
Yes.
If it, maybe, if it happened.
If I did it.
Right, yeah.
If it happened.
If I did it, the Travis Nye story.
Yeah, really. Oh my God.
Could be a book.
Exactly.
You should write a book. That'd be funny. All right.
Okay, so during the trial in Copenhagen, Madsen confessed that he had cut up Wall's body. Saying it was so he could more easily remove her from the submarine and bury her at sea.
That's what that one guy did. Robert Durst. No, Robert.
De Niro.
No. The guy who it was
He did that in Casino, right?
what? No,
I'm just kidding.
it's
So technically, wouldn't he be the captain? So he would be like
I think it's
law
Robert
and
Durst.
order right there, and he would be judge, jury, and executioner.
Yes, okay. So Robert Durst, that's what he did when he was down in Texas. He and his roommate got into a quote unquote altercation, and the gun went off and killed his roommate. In reality, he actually killed him. So he didn't know what to do. So instead of just calling the cops because he panicked, he chopped his neighbor up into pieces and buried him in the bay. Like, we'll put him in the water or whatever. Obviously, people found him.
Oh.
So, but that's what he said, because it was more easily to move his body because it was easier to do in pieces versus all at once.
That's the thing. It's like when you get to the point where it's like it's one thing to like panic and not call the cops right away or something
Right.
like that. But to panic and then methodically chop up the body. You'd think at about the third or fourth limb, you'd be like,
This is a bit much.
This is but much.
I still think with him being at sea and the captain of his own vessel, he has a little bit of
Oh,
He thinks
sea
he has
law.
jurisdiction.
Yeah.
That's I've
See?
heard about that too.
Law of the sea.
I mean, I pronounce you dead, and we will carry out your
So
Your
I think sea
funeral.
captains
Burial.
can wed people. I don't know if they have the ability to like.
kill them.
Yeah, I don't know if they have the ability to wield capital punishment. I missed that part of the orientation on Carnival Cruise, but it wouldn't surprise me.
They don't go over it there. They don't do that. I've listened. They don't do it.
All right. Okay. So
Here's some testimony from Madsen here. What do you do when you have a large problem? You make it smaller.
Oh no.
I'm really, really sorry about what happened.
Oh.
He told the court. Jesus.
That's
Okay.
a terrible
Yeah,
thing to
but
say.
he kind of backfired because he didn't make one problem. He made multiple.
Yeah.
In that sense.
In reading the verdict, Judge Annette Broke said that Madsen's explanation that Wallet died in an accident was not credible, and that Madsen had committed murder in a serious and brutal manner to a randomly chosen woman who had accepted his offer to go on a trip in the submarine. So, ladies, don't trust boys in submarines. Just don't do it. Don't get into the submarine with the boy. Just
By yourself.
yeah.
Bring a friend. Safety in numbers.
There you go. But it's so high profile. I mean, you're already the only guy in his own giant submarine. So, I mean, like, everybody's got to see you, like, fucking coming and go. It's probably, like, live streamed on Instagram every
Right.
time you leave the bay. You know?
Probably, yeah. I just can't understand, like, why would you commit those crimes on this person, like, against this person, when it's known that she's going to come and like, be with you. Like, everybody knows that she's going to do this. So why would you just choose this as your person to go through with your crimes? Like, I'm kind of thinking it might be something that this is kind of...
Well,
almost like I wouldn't say it. I know I'm not going to go so far as say fetish, but I do want to say I think this is a fantasy of his, that like it was his dream to get a woman alone with him on a submarine and then, do things like basically like have sex or whatever. But I think
there's so many easier ways. I mean,
there's
Jesus.
of course there's, but he's crazy. He doesn't know that, and then I think
Yeah.
it got out of hand and.
A bit.
A bit out of hand, yes. And unfortunately, Kim Wall was the victim of this.
So, I mean, realistically, though, put yourself in the situation. If you're home by yourself, and I'm not talking perverted or anything like that, but
Sure.
if you're home by yourself, you're going to do things that you would normally not do around your friends and family because you feel comfortable at home,
Sure.
alone and by your own person.
Sure.
Okay.
Mhm.
So now, if you extend that 1,000,000 times to where you're in a place where absolutely nobody will see what you're doing, hear what you're doing, 100% secluded, what would you really do if there was no consequences?
I would fart
Probably
so
not
loud.
Sexually assault a woman and chop
I
her to
agree with
pieces.
that, but let's pretend that this was not premeditated and it truly was an accident. Let's say he was attracted to her, hit on her, whatever. She got upset.
Oh, you mean like I have a person over in
Yeah.
my little dungeon?
Yeah, it resulted into a confrontation. One thing led to another. Yes, okay, he did sexually assault her. Not a good idea. An accident happened. Now this person that you were with is dead. Nobody is around to know it was you, how it happened, why it happened. your mind is instantly going to figure out a way to get out of it.
True.
So that was his thinking. And, you know, I mean, if you're out to sea, I mean, that's probably the safest place of any to really try to get away with it.
Right. I almost kind of think he sexually
Robert looks like
assaulted her. I think
gears are turning like this is not a bad idea and he might get a submarine.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I think
No,
I'm
definitely
with
not
you.
what I was
I'm with
thinking.
you on this. I think it was his intention all along to sexually assault her. Like I think that was like her coming into his dungeon and like, oh yes, I'm gonna go through with this. But then the realization of after he had done what he did, she's going to obviously turn me in, and I can't have that. So now I need to get rid of my problem. But not thinking like, oh, people are gonna know that she's here. But he's probably just like, I can't have this, rape charge put against me, so I need to get rid of her. And then...
Well, this almost goes back to that movie, or that Netflix thing, The Push, that I told you guys to watch, where, it's like a peer pressure thing on, okay, let's talk this guy into committing murder, and he actually went through with it in a real-life scenario, not knowing it was televised.
Oh, Jesus.
Or another person went through it.
Yeah,
he didn't.
Because the
Right.
one
Yeah.
that they let us follow from the beginning is the only one
Right.
that didn't. And
Right.
then everyone else did
Yep.
it.
And so, I mean, that same thing, like, you just never know what you're going to do with that amount of pressure on you. Silence.
Just, I'm just awestruck. It's like, Butch Jaspin, who is the prosecutor on this, here's a good quote. So heinous and repulsive that as a prosecutor it renders you speechless. I think that's pretty much where I'm at with
Right.
this. It's like you said, it just, it's kind of like an entitlement culture thing, and like you guys are saying it. This was his little world. His submarine was like his safe space and his dungeon, and
I think he just wanted to get his rocks off and then realized he made a mistake and then tried to take care of it.
I'd like to know what the guy's, like,
a terrible way.
previous history is of, getting in trouble or anything like that.
I don't recall him really having any like previous
Record.
criminal history.
Yeah.
'Cause I think he was kind of a shut-in, and he was kind of a quirky guy in the community, and he makes his submarine, and everybody's really interested.
And he's kind of like a recluse and a nerd.
Yeah.
He didn't have a criminal record.
Right.
And this is not his first submarine. He'd actually built several smaller ones first.
Okay.
That were also crowdfunded, which was part of why. So he basically built up to this. So this was kind of his thing. The naked torso had been stabbed 15 times.
Jesus. So that, at that point in time, that's actually a, what do they call that? A passion?
It's
Kill?
overkill, they call it.
Yeah.
So that means that, there was passion involved. It wasn't, like, calculated.
Right.
Because there was rage. Now I'm sad because of Travis. I get that we can't look up what the rewards were for supporting that submarine.
Right? And I want to know if they ever
could
got
the
him.
award-
and
I
if
mean,
they
like, I
didn't.
know what awards are for fund my movie, it's usually like associate producer credits and like, I don't know, a walk-on role or, a signed copy or a free poster, like...
And did they get their money back because they probably never received their reward?
I don't know.
There's a lot of things here.
Yeah.
If I backed this, I'd be upset.
So this is a Reddit thread we're kind of looking at to see
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, I don't think this is...
I don't think they're kind of like,
Productive.
they're kind of trolling on it. So, yeah. It's a very interesting and kind of an unfortunate...
Kind of a new kind of case. And then, I want to say the submarine sank. Because wasn't that part of the whole, his explanation was that she, so I think that was part of his cover-up.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why they recovered the body parts and stuff, is they probably went and recovered the submarine.
Yes. Now that you're saying that, I think it did.
Because he wanted to play it up as, something terrible happened
Yes,
to
it
the
was.
submarine.
Yes, like she died in the process of the submarine sinking, and then therefore that's why she perished at sea. And so I made it back. And then they find out that nah, bruh. Like, come on.
Nah,
Yeah,
bruh.
This is
when
not
submarine
legit.
sank, it didn't somehow sever all the limbs and put them in separate bags.
Right, because
with weights.
Right, if he had just left it at, like, not dismembered her first of all, like, and just left her
probably
in
could've
the
gotten away with
submarine.
it.
Yeah, he probably could have gotten away with it if she had
If it had
looked
been for
natural
those
enough.
pesky kids and their forensics team.
But the thing, yeah, the thing is though, is like, how much DNA evidence can you get off of a corpse once it's already been in the water? Like, I don't know those answers. So,
Dental records.
but that's not the one I'm trying to prove. I mean, obviously we know who it
She's
is.
talking about the secondary DNA from him.
Yeah.
On her.
Oh,
Good phrasing.
wow.
We're so smart. So, yeah. Scroll down. You had a good line there. Up. Nope. Other way. Keep going. Something about carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah. So Madsen denied killing Wall, but had given different explanations on how she died, including that she'd suffered fatal carbon monoxide poisoning inside of the craft while he was on deck.
That's bullshit. He's on deck too. God, he did not think this out.
No. And that's why it's kept changing. And then I mention the story because he kept changing the story. That at one point the story was that the hatch had fallen on her head.
Yeah.
And killed
Yep.
her.
Mm-hmm.
And
But there was no.
they found the severed head, but the skull wasn't completely intact, like with no blunt force trauma.
Right.
Even then, like, carbon monoxide or the hatch falling on her head, like, OSHA would charge him for something.
Well, he's
Like-
not a workplace though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
probably
it's...
like manslaughter, or at least open you up to like a wrongful death suit. Probably.
Right.
Well, in the U.S., I don't know how that works over in Denmark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all just have to like dance in wooden shoes or something like that, or how that works.
Oh, God.
Yeah, drink out of each other's shoes.
Yeah,
That's it.
as is their way. It's a beautiful culture. Anyway, yeah. So that is the murder most foul of the Kickstarter submarine murder. Wanted to cover this one because this is such a quirky, like, the new 21st century age of information and social media and murder, and it's just kind of like this is not a crime that would have taken place in like any other time or period.
Right.
Quite
Right.
the same way. A crowd-funded submarine.
That's yeah, that's interesting. I mean, somebody crowdfunded to make potato salad, and they made like millions of dollars off of it. So, I mean, you can crowdfund to do pretty much anything, especially on Kickstarter.
Yeah, Kickstarter's the Wild West. It's just
It pretty much is, yeah.
getting people to actually like find your campaign is the key.
So,
I think.
yeah.
I don't know. I've never run a successful Kickstarter, so
Yeah, us either. So I have something that happened to me a couple nights ago. Can I talk about it, or do we want to go into the next? Okay. So, we have right now in our house 6 cats. We're fostering 2 of them, and we have 4 cats that belong to us. So, and we live like in an old farmhouse. Last September we had a mouse problem. So every night at about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd hear a squeak, and here comes my cat Cooper coming upstairs with a mouse in his mouth, and I'm like,
Wants to
oh
share it.
fuck, because he just lets it go and he doesn't kill it, and so now I have to do it. Not kill it, but like get rid of it, because I'm not gonna kill it. So yeah, it was awful. So anyways, so a couple nights ago, I'm laying on my couch going to sleep. We have to sleep separate because of the cats. It's kind of a thing. Anyways, I have Cooper settled in at my feet. Sirius is settled in between my legs. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm like ready to like drift off to sleep. And all of a sudden I feel Sirius jump up off my legs and head towards like the bathroom. I'm like, whatever. He probably sees a bug. Like, he's a kitten. So he's probably just going to go after whatever he sees. Then like Cooper perks up and I feel him perk up, and then he takes a step forward, and then he takes off in the direction of Sirius. Normally they are fighting, like wrestling or whatever, playing around. So I'm just like, whatever, you two. Like, what? I'm gonna go back. I'm just gonna get some sleep. Then I hear the most god awful sound I have ever heard, and it was like a like it was like this chattering and screeching and squeaking, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I get up, like I think something like. So Sirius has been chewing on the speaker cords in our living room. So I'm thinking, fuck, did he like chew all the way through these cords and now the speakers are freaking out? Like, I don't know what's going on. So I wake up And I get up and I see that the speaker cord's still intact, but there's this sound still. I'm like, what is going on? Sirius comes out of Dominic's office and he has something in his mouth. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's a mouse. So then I turn on the lights and then it's like, it's bigger than a mouse. I'm like, oh my God, it's 2 mice? Just like the way he was holding it, it looked like there was like he had one mouse in his mouth and then another mouse was like hanging on to the other mouse trying to like, I'll save you, buddy, you know, something like that. Well, then he lets go of it and sets it on the ground. It is neither. It is a bat. And I'm like, oh, God. And at this point in time, I'm holding a towel in my hand as I was ready to, like, capture said mouse. And then I hear a voice in my head say, throw it on top of the bat. But I couldn't do it. I was just, like, terrified because I didn't know what the hell to do. And then the bat gets up and then proceeds to fly at my face. And I was like, ah! So I threw the towel at the bat. And then I start screaming. Oh, my God. I was screaming so freaking loud. So then I run upstairs to go get Dominic. And Dominic is just like, what? What's going on? And I'm like, there is a bat in the house. Like, we need to get rid of this bat. And he's just like, are you sure? I'm like, are you kidding me? It flew at my face. And he's like, okay, just give me a sec. So he's like taking his sweet ass time. Meanwhile, I'm like, there's a situation. We need to take care of it. So he follows me downstairs. And then he gets some pants on. He puts a shirt on. I'm like, why are you getting dressed? Like, why? So he grabs my towel. He hangs it up between the threshold between our upstairs and the kitchen. And he just sits there for a minute. And he looks at me and he goes, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? We have to get rid of the bat in the house. We have to figure it out. And he's like, I know, but I just don't know. So then he kind of peeks behind the towel and then he kind of goes, whoa, like the bat must like flew at him. I'm like, oh my God, this is hysterical. So he decides that he's just going to open up the front door to our house and the bat will just leave on its own, which we've done that before. We've had bats in our house before. And I just bumped the mic, sorry. So I'm like, okay, that's fine, but we have 2 door dashers, Sirius and Cooper. We can't do that. So Sirius had just come up the stairs to be like, hey guys, what's going on? So Dominic takes Sirius and he puts him upstairs, locks him in the bedroom. He then grabs a fitted sheet to drape over himself and to crawl army style through the house to get to Cooper, to put Cooper in the office. So imagine this lump of a sheet moving through the house, trying to get to the cat. And then he covers Cooper up in the sheet with him, and then Army crawls him into the office and shuts the door. So now he goes to the front door, Army crawls to the front door, opens the front door, and then he waits. And then I hear him a little bit. I don't see it anymore. I'm like, oh God. So then I peek and I look into the kitchen and I don't see it either. So I'm like, where did this thing go? And then I look and it had perched itself up against the between like the ceiling and like where the wall is at. So like in a corner. And I'm like, oh my God, I see it. And he's like, where? I'm like, it's right over here. So he comes. So then I put myself onto the porch because we have it's like a separate from the kitchen. So I go onto the porch and I shut the door behind me. Dominic comes into the kitchen and he kind of peeks his head around the corner and he sees it. So then he ducks down. I don't know why ducking would have like done anything, but he ducks down even further underneath the bat and like joins me onto the porch. And he's like, okay, I think I got an idea. So he goes back into his office and he comes back and he looks at me and he goes, don't laugh at me. I'm like, okay, why? And he's like, he gets out a hockey mask, and it's not any hockey mask. It is Jason's hockey mask from Friday the 13th.
That's that photo I saw.
Yes,
where he was bat hunting and he had the Jason
yes
mask. That is awesome. Because he had he made like a homemade hazmat suit, like
yes,
with the gloves, and then they were fastened on the sleeves.
Oh my God! I just busted out. I went and just bust out laughing. I'm laughing hysterically.
But please tell me you videoed this.
No, we didn't, because that's what everybody has asked us. Like, did you video it? No. So he puts the mask on. He puts his winter snowblowing jacket on. He puts on some gloves, and then he goes around the corner and he gets a beanie on. He finds out that the beanie won't fit with the mask on, so he has to take the mask off, put the beanie on, and then put the mask back on. Because his philosophy was he didn't want the bat to scratch out his eyes, which...
What?
He's got some weird things with stuff. So he puts all this garb on. I'm hysterics. Like, I am laughing so hard. So then we calm ourselves down. He goes to the bat. I'm like, you need a chair to get up there to get the bat down. He positions the chair underneath the bat, and then he stands in front of the chair and he looks up at the bat, and I just see his shoulders go. He takes like 4 deep calming breaths to like pump himself up to get the bat out of the house. And he has a towel in his hands too, so he can grab the bat so the bat won't like fly away. So he takes some deep breaths. He gets up on the chair. Then he takes a couple more deep breaths. And then he just goes, ah, and he gets it. And he grabs it, and the bat just freaks out. I don't know whatever sound it makes. And then he's running as fast as he can. And then he shoves it out the front door, and he slams the front door, and he's like, I'm like, and then just, can you imagine this, you guys? A Jason, and full like Jason, like hockey mask, whatever, running out the front door of our house, being like, like throwing a towel out of the house and into the night. It must have looked ridiculous to our neighbors. So he gets back inside. He's still wearing everything, and I'm like, I have to get a picture of you in this. This is so funny. So he let me take a picture of him. So I'll share that picture to our Facebook page once this episode drops. But yeah, God, that was the fun. That was just. Yeah, it was exciting and it was hysterical. I have now closed off the basement so that way the cats can't go into the basement and get anything else out of there while I'm sleeping. So yeah, so that was my excitement.
Nice.
And I think that's it for chapter 14.
I do too. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, and also remember that our episodes play on Live 605, so you can check that out along with all of our other podcasts at thesuempire.com. Don't forget the. Yeah, and we will see you all next time.
Yeah, bye!
Macabre Grimoire is a production of thesuempire.com. Learn more at macabregrimoire.com.